Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the MX2 Product Manager, Francois-Come Beaupre, and today we're going to take you through some of the highlights of the latest generation of OmniScan from Olympus, the MX2. I saw from the registration we have a mix of both new users, existing users, and a lot probably somewhere in between. For those people, we're going to go through the improved display and touchscreen, the Weld Overlay and Retracing features that some of you familiar with from the M version, improved hardware, improved speed, some of the markets and solutions, and accessories. The size and weight of the OmniScan has not significantly changed. When the keypad on the MXU was removed, it allowed for a much larger display. The screen is transmissive LED backlit technology that allows a 100% increase in brightness without impacting the battery life. The MX2 kit comes with protective consumable screen protectors that can be installed in about 2 minutes, and there are still modes for indoor and outdoor use. The overwhelming customer feedback for new features for the next generation of the OmniScan was increased screen size and brightness. To accomplish that, in addition to the larger display, is an option for full screen using the plus and minus keys. While in full screen mode, the full display size is used for the data windows, and the readings and navigation menus are not displayed. The MX2 can quickly move from full screen mode back to normal view with software navigation with a touch of a button. This mode is typically used during the inspection and analysis when only viewing the data is necessary. Whether it's a manual inspection where we're full screen and zoomed in on defects using the function keys to back in and out, or quickly manipulating the keys to get back to the navigation when that's necessary, it makes it a very smooth, convenient change for the operators in the field. The touchscreen dramatically increases the speed and ease that operators are able to configure the instrument and manipulate data, cursors, and gates. Fast navigation and smoother interaction with the operator. As a result of this, no USB keyboard or mouse is required, and less platform buttons are necessary on the base unit. The touchscreen allowed the MXU keypad to be eliminated for more efficient use. Previously, setups were more time-consuming without the use of a mouse and required greater familiarity with the shortcut keys and keypads. Touchscreen manipulation includes all menu and submenu navigation, zoom and pan features, manipulation of the gates, manipulation of a data, reference, and measure cursors, all text and number input, and quick toggle between reading lists. As you can see, the keypad and keyboard are available directly in the software user interface. When tapping an input field where a parameter is required, either the keypad or keyboard appear as appropriate. For parameters such as gain, where only a number is appropriate, you only get the keypad. For comments and text values, you have the keyboard available and quick reference to the number keypad as well. When the values are entered and configured, you select the checkbox for enter and the keyboard goes away from the display. The touchscreen has 3 modes of operation for zoom, cursor manipulation, and gate manipulation. The mode is displayed with an icon in the upper right-hand corner for one of the 3 modes. Zoom is displayed here. While in zoom mode, the operator can zoom as desired directly on the display by creating a box with one finger on the active data window. use of the zoom function key also allows the operator to unzoom and zoom on gate position, on cursor parameters, zoom to center, zoom to corner, etc. By default, the MX2 is always in zoom mode until either the cursor or gate mode is selected. While in zoom mode, with the exception of the blue data cursor on the S-scan and C-scan, all of the cursors and gates are disabled on the touch screen. This was necessary for fat fingers to manipulate small, detailed cursors in position where the gates and cursors and your desired zoom area were too close together. For the zoom mode, there are two features that are displayed with the two icons you see here, zoom and pan. Tapping one time on the zoom button enables the pan. The pan mode can be used to reposition a zoom slightly to the left, to the right, up or down, or, more importantly, to pan through a long inspection to be viewed at one time on the C-scan or B-scan. For instance, to perform analysis on a 5,000 meter weld, the operator could create a 200 millimeter window and pan through the data slowly for the entire file. When combined with the touchscreen, the zoom feature allows more intuitive analysis and fast data manipulation to maximize productivity and results, all available directly on the touchscreen. The cursor mode is the second mode of the touchscreen. To manipulate a cursor on any window or any axis, the operator enables cursor mode for the touchscreen by pressing on the cursor function key. In cursor mode, the zoom icon changes to the cursor icon, and the zoom and gate functions are disabled on the screen. And again, you can always manipulate the data cursor on the S-scan and C-scan in any mode. In addition to the touchscreen functions, for the active display type, A-scan, S-scan, C-scan, etc., pressing on the cursor function key, again, toggles through the applicable cursors for that display type, allowing them to be manipulated quickly and easily using the rotator knob and your thumb. The example of this that you see here is the A-scan. When I select the cursor key one time, it enables cursor mode. Selecting the cursor key again on the A-scan would toggle through the relative axes. On the A-scan, example would be amplitude reference cursor, amplitude measure cursor, and time of flight, or UT, referencing cursor. When I'm active on the S-scan, those toggles would be the index axes and the ultrasound axes. So with a very short amount of practice, without having to navigate through the sub-menus, I'm able to manipulate all gates and cursors using that same philosophy. I can touch the touch screen in that mode and focus on a cursor, and then it allows me to drag the cursor with my finger appropriately, for those of you that don't have too fat of fingers like me. The feature allows cursor manipulation without function keys and knob without navigating through any menus or changing the display. So while in one area of the software I can manipulate gates, cursors, or data without having to navigate away from that area. And the gate functions work very similarly with either the gate function key or the touchscreen manipulation in gate mode. Readings for amplitude, gate data, statistical information, and cursor information are available in two lists of 4 pieces of information, similarly to earlier versions. Now, with the touchscreen, the operator can toggle between the two lists by tapping one time in the reading area. This allows the operator access to more information quickly and easily, benefiting from the touchscreen. For existing customers that were familiar with the M version of the OmniScan, those Weld Overlay and Ray Tracing tools have now been incorporated into the MX2. The OmniScan MX2 has a customizable Weld Overlay feature that allows welds to be created and displayed directly on the S-scan. In this example, we see a standard V-weld bevel that is repeated on successive skips to ease analysis. The weld overlay is very useful for defect and geometry positioning and characterization directly on the data. It's extremely helpful in reporting for people who might not be familiar with UT or phased array analysis as well. The weld overlay includes standard templates from which any common weld bevel can be created. It walks the operator step by step through the process of creating symmetrical or asymmetrical weld bevels. It includes steps for the root, hot pass, land, and fill zones where the size, angle, and/or radius of the bevel can be created and saved. Use of the weld overlays assists in analysis and greatly enhances the value of the onboard report generator with images to include the weld bevel directly on the data. Previously, MXU users, when using conventional probes not from PA connector, had to switch between two interfaces. The MX2 no longer requires separate software for conventional UT support when not using the PA connector. In previous versions, this was a green user interface. The MX2 Group Wizard now includes the three options necessary for group creation to include a pure phased array inspection on the phased array connector, inspections using conventional UT borrowing a pulsar from the PA connector with an adapter or accessory, and also pure conventional inspections using the BNC or Lemo connectors on instrument modules that support those applications. Again, no need to wait and no need to switch or learn between two user interfaces. In addition to the size and intensity of the display, the next feature that was a direct result of customer feedback from earlier generations of the OmniScan was improvements in the setup. The MX2 brings to the market a big improvement in the speed and ease in which the instrument can be set up to perform an inspection. Typical phased array software on the market requires populating many parameters in many menus to configure the calculator, UT, and inspection parameters along with the hardware. Automatic probe detection, databases for wedges and material velocity save enormous amount of time and minimize calculator input errors. Using the touchscreen, the Group Wizard walks the operator through this process one step at a time with detailed interactive help menu to include graphics and explanations on every step so that the setup file is generated with the correct inspection plan, including focal loss, range, gate position, and scanner parameters. In addition to the setup speed improvement, the display refresh rates have also been increased by about 300%. These improvements together make up the setup time for the MX2 about 50% faster than previous versions. Similarly to the group setup wizards, there are also wizards for calibration to include sensitivity, sometimes referred to as angle-corrected gain, TCG or DAC, wedge delay, and encoder calibration. These calibration wizards allow all focal laws and A-scans to be calibrated at the same time. Additionally, several enhancements to previous versions have been made to ease both theoretical TCG creation and extrapolating a calibration curve for two or more points. This is necessary to comply with existing codes and is an essential part of the inspection. A 40% improvement in PRF due to improved electronics, a 400% increase in data file saving and transfer, and increased file size capacity of 300 megabytes equates to faster inspection times and improved productivity. The PRF is particularly beneficial for the performance and speed of the manually pushed encoded scanner applications that are dependent on high PRF for smooth operation and quality data acquisition. A typical example of a two-sided weld inspection with two phased array probes, two sector scans, and one top channel with all groups acquired simultaneously is now approximately 100 millimeters per second. Again, about a 40% improvement over previous versions. The MX2 has an IP66 water resistance rating that required the redesign of several of the peripheral port inputs. The encoder input was redesigned and separated from the alarm I/O connector and VG output. The MX2 comes with an adapter for this encoder so that it is compatible with all standard Olympus scanners and encoders and accessories. The MX2 now supports USB 2 on the go that allows a plug-and-play cable connection between a computer and the MX2 for file management. USB high-speed 2.0 that will provide the faster data saving and file transfer time, and full-speed 1.1 along with a standard Ethernet serial port, SD memory card slot, and DC power adapter. The SD memory card slot replaces the previous compact flash version. It's much smaller and it can be closed with the door to preserve the IP66 rating. It can also be removed and replaced without rebooting the OmniScan to move data. The MX2 improved battery performance includes the same battery as the MXU, but it is optimized with more efficient cycling by discharging both batteries at the same time for improved performance between charges and overall performance of battery life. Two fully charged batteries provide approximately 8 hours of use depending on setup parameters. The MX2 can operate with 1 or 2 batteries, and either one can be removed and replaced while the instrument is open in operation. Storage accessories include the SD card, which again replaces the standard compact flash. Larger, it can be hot swapped, no need to reboot, easier to handle. USB on the go cable is a plug-and-play cable that connects the MXU directly to a computer, similarly to a digital camera, so that the flash card is accessed directly from the host computer. No networking or FTP configuration required. Very useful. USB 2.0, as before, with a faster transfer rate, 4 times faster on the MX2, and allows large storage capacity, currently up to 256 gigabytes, which is a limitation of the cards, not the instrument. The fastest transfer time now, unlike the MXU, is going to be with a micro USB flash drive, which is included in the kit. In this example, a 16 gigabyte micro flash in the USB 2.0 storage. Again, IP66 rated. Compatible adapters. With the use of the DE15 to Lemo encoder cable adapter seen here, the MX2 is compatible with all current scanners and accessories. Those adapters are typical Hypertronics adapters, splitters, Lemo connections, phased array extension cables, and scanner interfaces. Accessories included in the OmniScan MX2 include storage card, adapters, battery, power supply, micro USB drive, industrial strength carrying case, flash card reader, and we use the anti-glare protection for the touchscreen. The touchscreen is still rugged and duro. The MX2 passes a mil-spec drop test, and with the use of the anti-glare to protect the screen, even when wet or dirty, allows touchscreen operation normal. Module compatibility. Eddy current modules are not supported by the MX2 and will not be in the future. UT modules, like the 2, 4, and 8 channel OmniScan UT, are not supported now, but will be in the near future. All other modules, standard in the Olympus catalog, are compatible with both the MXU and MX2 base units. A new module to the Olympus family is the 1664PA. It was designed specifically to be used with applications such as the Cobra scanner, where only 16-element probes using sector scans are required. 2 16-element probes, typical of a Cobra application or many standard sector scan applications, now have an appropriate module where 32-128 is not necessary. That module requires a separate splitter other than the 64x2 that was the only splitter in the catalog previously. New pricing options include all software that was previous line item options. That includes the TOFD, the multi-group, and Weld packages. Now that these are enabled for the base unit, dramatically reducing the price and complexity of the sale. Prices have been adjusted in order to make the technology more accessible to customers and to a much larger market. Upgradability to the new platform can easily be done by buying a new platform and using your existing PA modules. Software can be downloaded directly from the website. So for the individual areas and for specifics regarding the upgrade deals, contact your local Olympus sales office for specific pricing and lead times. One of the benefits of purchasing from Olympus is that we offer complete solutions, which would typically include equipment, instrumentation, software, probes, and mechanical scanners for a complete solution that the customer need not put together themselves. Some typical examples of those are the industrial manual weld and one-line scan. For the one probe inspection, in this example, that requires multi-group advanced phased array features beyond some of the lower cost single channel, single group instrumentation. Semi and automated weld inspections. This would include all of the manual push scanners such as the Cobra or the Flex or the Compact, and automated inspection systems as the Weld Rover. Those would also include TOFD applications, multi-probe applications, and higher production inspections where hundreds of welds are required of the same configuration. The Cobra scanner is an application that has been expanded now to include high and low frequency probes, shear wave and L wave wedges, and ability to inspect thicker and thinner components. The PV200 weld inspection solutions would include the family of scanners of the chain scanner, the HSMT Compact, and the Flex. And again, this family of scanners would include multi-probe, TOFD, fully mechanized, and manual push scanners for a more complex inspection. Aerospace applications, that would include the CFRP flat panel inspection solution, CFRP radii inspection solution, 2-axis scanners, including the glider and the flexible wing scanner. Industrial corrosion applications now, which would include the hydroform, used either as an individual module encoded one-line scans or configured with a 2-axis chain scanner for large C-scan acquisition. At this point, we've accumulated some questions throughout the presentation. If we don't get to your question, we have them, and we will answer all questions via email. We're going to take a few of those in the time we have left allotted, and I'm going to turn this over now to the MX2 Product Manager, Francois-Come Beaupre.
Okay, so please write your questions if you have any. The first one is, what is the thickness, the thickest material that you can inspect? In fact, that depends on the application. With a more powerful module, meaning increased aperture for one beam, and also selecting the higher voltage, combined with deep penetration probes and the proper wedge, we see regularly example for SME code inspection, for example, that we inspect material over 200 millimeter. Also in other applications like mining or manufacturing, there's a lot of examples where we inspect more than 500 millimeters. Second one. Since the screen is brighter, how does it affect the battery life? In fact, it is 2 times brighter than the classic MX. Even in full brightness, the MX2 consumes less than the MX. So when we look at the battery life, we can expect around 8 hours at least, and maybe more depending on the setup that we use.
We get a lot of questions about battery life and why it's not predicted accurately and why we say 4 hours, but there's only lasted 3.5 hours. Keep in mind that your PRF, the frequency of the probe you're using, the pulse width, there are many factors that determine that. In the PRF options of the MX2, there is an optimization feature that balances battery versus heat versus performance, and there are several options available. So a battery life can't be predicted accurately, but our typical inspections now with the improved battery, with 2 of them, are over 8 hours of acquisition time.
Yeah, and also, how can you clean the touchscreen? In fact, since the platform is IP66, and also there's a membrane that covers the front face of the platform, we can clean it with a cloth and soap and water if needed. There's no problem.
And the screen isn't less durable or more fragile. It's a little more susceptible to the touch screen errors if it's dirty and wet, so keeping it clean has more value than the old versions. But just because we have the touch screen now, we didn't give up any durability regarding the screen.
Okay, how can I save files as fast as possible on the MX2? So, in fact, the USB 2 is the quickest way to save. It is around 500% faster than it was on the MX, and but this is going to depend on the type of flash drive that we use. With the one included in the kit that fits in the port, we can expect around 400% faster saving time.
They're clearly labeled on the port as well. So you'll see the USB 2, and in the kit, if you use the flash that was provided, that's going to be your fastest, best inspection saving data.
Yeah. We can see for a 300 megabyte file, around 35 seconds of saving time. By the way, the SD card is also pretty fast compared to the compact flash. It's not as fast as USB 2, but it's still much faster than it was. Regarding another question regarding the scanners, there is an adapter in the kit to convert to the new connector that is IP66 for the encoder input on the OmniScan. Okay, how can I create a second PA group on a second probe to inspect from the other side of the weld? In fact, using the wizard, we can copy easily a group to the other side of the weld on a second probe, and also we can the copy will also include the calibration and the TCG if we want to keep it as well. Just checking it out before starting.
It looks like most of the rest of the questions are specific to individual customers and not necessarily relevant to the overall MX2 new product. All of the questions that were typed in during the webinar, we're going to get back to you via email, so don't worry. We want to go ahead and end this here. We would like to thank all of the participants for joining us. We have your information, those of you that requested to be contacted directly. We'd like to thank everybody for giving us their time, and we look forward to you joining us on the next webinar that we have several more planned in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.